Described as studious and shy, Yasmin da Silva Neira was a 16-year-old girl from Brazil. She had lived in the Salmide neighbourhood in the city of Araraquara with her parents. According to her father Waladir, she was a sweet and intelligent girl who enjoyed hanging out with friends. Not the type of teenager who would ever disappear and come home when she felt like it. She was cautious and would never stay out more than 2 hours without telling her parents where she was and who she was with. Yasmin had recently gotten a scholarship to one of the best high schools in the city, and no one had any doubt at all that she could have a bright future. In her spare time, just like any other teenager, Yasmin liked to roam social media. She especially liked Twitter, and looking at her account, it's clear to see that she would keep her Twitter active, sending numerous tweets throughout the day, mostly tweeting about school, shenanigans that happened to her throughout the day, or her love for Harry Potter and male actors such as Johnny Depp. However, on Sunday the 9th of June 2019, she would send out a thread of tweets that would be her final legacy, and also act as a warning for other young teenagers about the dangers of social media. Her tweets seemed usual at first. It was Johnny Depp's birthday that day, and seen as though she was a big fan, she had retweeted some birthday messages dedicated to him. It seems that she was still awake very late into the morning, almost as if something was playing on her mind. Her first proper tweet was at 3:07 AM, and it was the first of 3 that would trigger cause for concern from her followers. The first tweet that day read, "I'm going to somebody's house tomorrow and I'm feeling sick." Whilst this first tweet wasn't a cause for concern, it was the follow-up tweet 2 minutes later that would raise red flags, and also become one of her most famous tweets to date. It read, "I never spoke to him in person and I hardly know where he lives. If I disappear or die, you know." It was clear that Yasmin had a very bad gut feeling, and in cases like this, it's important that you trust your instincts. Around 30 minutes after her first 2 tweets, she seemed to have changed her mind as she tweeted, "On second thought, I don't know if I should go to his house." This was clearly something playing on Yasmin's mind throughout the day, because her tweets didn't seem as chirpy as usual. At 1 PM that afternoon, Yasmin sent out another tweet. This one read, "I woke up and I'm healthy. I'm even more scared. I think I'll talk to him to change the place." Her followers replied with things such as, "This is called intuition because it is." They clearly didn't want her to go either, but she replied with, "I don't know what to do," with a sad face emoji. Yasmin's final tweets on her account were from around 3 PM that evening, and they were of a darker nature. She wrote of how she was crying, of her insecurities, and how she didn't go a single day without thinking about dying. 2 days after her tweet stopped, comments from her followers began to come in underneath her posts. One user wrote, "Have you heard from her?" Whilst another stated, "My God, what a bad feeling." The most alarming thing in this case, perhaps, is the fact that the boy who Yasmin was going to meet had only started talking to her the day before arranging to meet up at his home. The boy that Yasmin was chatting to was a boy that is only known in the media as HS, who lived in her city. It appears his identity was protected because he was only 17 years old. Sadly, Yasmin went against her better judgment, and at 4:12 PM that day told her parents that she was off to meet one of her close friends who her parents were familiar with, and she left her home. This, however, was a lie. Yasmin had left to meet up with the unknown Twitter user she had become acquainted with just 1 day prior. This was very out of character for Yasmin. She didn't usually lie to her parents, and she took comfort in them knowing where she was and who she was with. At around 5 PM, Yasmin's mother called to check on her, which ended up being their last contact. There was no sign that Yasmin could be in danger, and certainly no cause for concern. Yasmin and HS arranged to hang out at a popular club in the city. She had been here several times with her friends. On their way, however, HS pretended to have forgotten his money and had Yasmin accompany him to his home so he could supposedly pick it up. He lived with his mother, but she was attending church by the time that they arrived at his home. HS allegedly then took Yasmin to his bedroom. He left her in the room and walked to his kitchen where he retrieved a knife before placing it in the bathroom. After hiding the knife, he took Yasmin to the bathroom and told her to close her eyes and say what she felt for him. After Yasmin allegedly replied that she was in love, she was put in a chokehold. She fought back and managed to catch his knife and hurt his arm, knee and lower calf before being choked unconscious. HS could not say whether she was already dead, but went on to stab Yasmin in the neck and drain her blood under the shower. Around an hour later, he began dismembering her body. When his mother returned home, she didn't realise her home had become a crime scene. HS made sure not to leave a trail. When Yasmin's parents and friends could not reach her well into Sunday night, a missing persons report was filed the next morning. After looking into her social media accounts, they discovered that she had been in contact with the 17-year-old, and upon learning that Yasmin's true intentions had been to meet HS that day, her parents made contact with him. Yasmin's father Waliday recalled, he was acting strange and changing the subject. The murderer told Yasmin's parents and friends that he had walked her to the bus stop after their meeting and then returned home. On June the 10th, the first traces of Yasmin had been found. A piece of Yasmin's torso and legs were found under a food truck in HS's backyard, which he intended to keep as a trophy. Some pieces were dumped in another neighbourhood, whilst her head and other parts were thrown in a lake near his home. On Monday afternoon, 24 hours after the crime, HS confessed to murdering Yasmin Nera and was apprehended. He additionally stated that his 17-year-old girlfriend, whose name was also not released, helped him to dispose of the body parts in the lake. The victim's belongings such as glasses, sneakers and cell phone were found at his house. The couple showed no remorse whatsoever. HS was proud of himself and stated that he had studied human anatomy and searched on the deep web for tips on how to kill someone because he wanted to know how it felt. His girlfriend laughed coldly during the investigation, despite the fact that Yasmin tweeted that she had never spoken to him in person. HS claimed that they had already met at a rock concert on Saturday and exchanged numbers. He had seen Yasmin as an easy target. A month later, HS was sentenced to serve the maximum penalty of 3 years imprisonment determined by the Statute for the Child and Adolescent in a juvenile detention centre. His girlfriend was taken to a semi-free juvenile centre to serve just 45 days. Yasmin's murder shocked the nation, but especially her followers on Twitter, who had tried to offer up advice prior to her going to meet with her murderer. Yasmin's death is a sad reminder that you shouldn't put your trust in strangers on the internet, as you can never be sure of their true intentions.